Hey, good afternoon. I'm going to assume by the waves that you all heard me, but everyone's on mute. Okay,
Good
great.
afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon. Thank you all so much for being flexible for the snow delay. It was really just a joke. I was in a class I'm studying for my broker's exam, and I was in class from 9 to 2:30 today. So thanks for being so flexible. All righty. I mean, really, what else you got to do? Although I showed 3 houses yesterday. Like, what's up with that? But
Wow,
I
that's
know,
crazy.
good problem to have. Good problem to have.
Yeah.
So my
I,
little
I was so bummed I wasn't able to get on that Thrive call yesterday. My internet was down and I was just, I don't know. I was doing on my trying to get on it and I couldn't, and I kept bouncing and I was so frustrated. I was like, oh my God. Oh
oh
well.
gosh. Well, I saw you there for a little bit and then you were gone. So
It just kept cutting in and out. So I only got like bits and pieces and it was just frustrating. So, oh well.
Gotcha. Oh,
I
you
saw
mean like,
Bobby was on there and
oh, go ahead.
yeah. Anyways.
Oh, you mean like last Pricing Pros when you guys couldn't hear me at all? That's
Oh,
like a fun. So, but for Valentine's Day, my husband gave me a 50-foot patch cable. And
50
so
foot what?
I am plugged directly into our 1 gig speed router. Not exactly gift of the Magi, but it's what I needed and wanted. He loves me. So,
Nice.
yeah.
Well, I'm technically challenged. So I was like, with my kids having snow days, there was nobody to help me. And I was like, I thought, oh, you know what? I guess it's just not meant to be today. So I got some other stuff done, but then the internet's now on. So that's good.
Well, it just means that I'm plugged directly into the router, so I'm not on Wi-Fi, so I'm getting the full. So I shouldn't have upload speed issues today, fingers crossed. So,
Nice.
but,
I'm going to
all
mute
right.
myself. All right.
Okie doke. Well, welcome everyone. Again, thank you for being flexible today. To move the Pricing Pros to 3 o'clock. I'm looking to see, is Trish on here yet? Trish, are you here? Trish, oh, there's Trish. She's in the Bahamas over there. Great. Fantastic. Well, today we're going to take a look at, Trish had submitted this as she wanted to get some feedback from the group on 5602 Stoneway Trail. That's 5602 Stoneway Trail. And that zip, I'm just putting it in here, 5602 Stoneway Trail. And that is 37209. There we go. It's listed as a coming soon. And Trish, please feel free to stay off mute and maybe I'll let you give a little background info on it, and then I'll pull up RealTracs and we'll start taking a look and hear what conversation comes from it. How's that?
That sounds great. First of all, thank you guys so much for doing this for me. So I'm still fairly new, less than a year old at being a realtor. And so this is my rental home. So I am the owner agent, and we've had renters in there since we bought it, since about 2013. And we decided we were going to put it on the market. So they moved out. And then of course we did the walkthrough where you realize that you were basically slumlords for the entire time that your renters lived in there. So it is, it is an adorable house that has a ton of potential. And what I'm trying to do right now is I'm trying to decide if I should put the money into it to make it what could possibly be, and from my statistics, I believe it would be a multi-offer property, or if I should just try to sell it as is and not waste my time and money. So that's kind of where I am right now.
Okay, great. And this is being recorded, so we'll ask Teddy to edit out the slumlord part, but appreciate the info
Cool.
there. Could you give us a little insight into the fixing up that you're
Sure.
considering?
Okay, so it's in this neighborhood called Brookside Court. Brookside Court has a number of the houses in the neighborhood are exactly the same. It was built post-war for people moving into Nashville, and all of the houses are 1,444 square feet. It is, yes, very specific there. It is in a neighborhood off of White Bridge Road. So it has access to a lot of great, restaurants and grocery stores right now. It is across the street from the entrance to the Greenway. So there are lots of really great things about it. When I was trying to do my CMAs, I looked and saw that in Brookside Court itself, there were 8 properties that sold in 2020, and there were 9 sold in 2020, and out of those 9, 8 of them were 1,444 square feet. So I have a really good idea of what it could go for. Out of those 8 properties with 1,444 square feet, 6 of them were multi-offer deals. So I assume that is the case when they show a listing price, and then the price above it, that is the closing price, is above the listing price. I assume that means that it was a multi-offer deal. Is that correct?
That it could be correct, and please, anybody jump in who wants to say something. It could be a single offer, and they, just came in and offered blah over list price and said, if you'll sell it right now, I'll give it this, and it's cash or something like that. So
Okay.
you couldn't assume that, but in this environment, it could be.
Sure. So I'll just say maybe that 6 of the offers got above the listing price. So, so with that being said, I have a median price of about $450,000 that these houses are, that's a good median price. The highest was at 470. The lowest was at 415.
So it sounds like we're going to see some pretty good comps in here
Right.
that have sold in the last year. So that's great. And William just put in here any appraisal contingencies on the offers. So just again, when we're talking about the value of, from a buyer's perspective or a seller's perspective, the buyer is bringing value. It's not just the price, it's a lot about the price, but then there are other aspects of value to offer. So something to keep in mind.
Okay.
All right. And I'm going to share my screen here and pull up RealTracs. And while we're doing that, could you talk a little bit about the upgrades, repairs, fixing up, specifically what you think, what hasn't been done today, and what you're thinking will cost about $40,000, and whether or not you want to be doing that?
Yes. Okay. So I have gotten all of the paperwork. I got someone in there on February the 1st, and that person has been working diligently about contacting all of the subs and getting different people to come in and inspect. So first and foremost, there was some foundation damage, 3 cracks in the foundation and a beam missing underneath. So the floor in the kitchen is sagging. This house, when we bought it in 2013, was a flip, and was a very quick flip, I believe. So the work was not the best when we bought it, but they had made it into, a cute house, still the original bathrooms, the original sort of galley kitchen, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, and like a little family room area. So most of that has not been, I would say, updated. So by going in and doing upgrades, I I would do one of the bathrooms. I've gotten a quote for about 7,000 to make it into a really decent bathroom. We would paint everything. I would replace the crown molding and the trim, which is still very, 1964, the trim on the doorways. We would, some of the walls are cracked and need to be fixed, and there's big holes in them. The floors look good. The carpet looks good. Pretty much the cabinets in the kitchen and the countertop is this cheap kind of, I'm not even sure what it's made out of, but certainly not quartz or anything like that. The cabinets, like I said, need to either be scraped and painted, or they just need to be replaced. The appliances are pretty much fine, and there is some outside painting that needs to be done where it just hasn't been kept up. So that is a good list, I believe.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks. All right, and again, feel free to jump in anytime, and anyone have any questions for Trish or comments, just please feel free to jump in. All right, are you all seeing RealTracs on the share screen right now? Is that a yes? Sorry.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Y'all are tiny, so I couldn't tell. Okie dokie. All right, so we'll start. We're going to start in this quick search box. And again, for those who've been on before, or who even who haven't, you're going to be tired of me talking about the new RealTracs interface that you need to be working with now. A good place to start is always in that quick search box, which is on the main page. And I just typed in 5602 Stoneway, and that one popped up. I selected it. And because this one is a listing, it's coming soon, but it is a listing in here now. When I type that in, it takes me directly to the MLS listing. If you had not had this listed yet, you were just planning on doing it, it would take you to a different view, which we've seen in the past. But for today, we get to go straight to the listing.
Well, and by the way, an update on that, Rebecca, is it is obviously not going to be available the 26th. So I'm getting ready to go back in there and push that date back a couple weeks. Mm-hmm. And since I put this on RealTracs, of course, I have been contacted no less than 20 times by people that want to get in there and see it now. And, I'm like, do you know you're breaking the rules?
Which is a prior lead generation strategy for those out there, is list your own house and just get the call-in leads. Don't suggest it, but certainly works, friends. You heard it here. Don't share bad ideas, and they're less likely to occur. Okay, good talk.
All right. Thanks, Ted. So Trish, and what you're asking today is this 440 that you just have as an idea here, is that what you're thinking is the as-is price? Or that's just based on the comps that they're in here that have been fixed up already?
That was based upon the comps and a little bit on the lower side of the comps, because I'm not gonna some of those had open concepts where walls had been knocked down. So I was taking that into effect as well. So I priced it a little bit below the median price.
Okay. All right, great, thanks. All right, so the listing comes up here, and from this page, so here's where we would review the information. She's gone over most of it for us already. I put some in the chat: 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1444 square feet. And it's got a decent yard, right? So just over a third of an acre, and close to stuff. All right. So then we're going to go to our search area over here and put in some information about what we're going to search for. From the listing page at this moment, and again, with the new interface from RealTracs, not all of the functionality is here yet. So we don't have a click on, search the map search here. So we're going to need to start in our search box. But this is good because we've got the listing open and we can, take a look at this information. So we are doing residential property class for property subtype. What do you want to put in here, Trish?
Sorry,
No,
site
it's
built.
So just site built.
Mm-hmm.
I feel pretty good about that. Again, we have conversation on here all the time about, do you limit it too much to start with, or do you start with a big group and then funnel in? But we don't want manufactured homes in there. We don't attached HPR, definitely not. I guess you could possibly make an argument about detached HPR. This thing was built in what, the 60s, 1964, and so I think newer construction you probably don't want to have in here. That is my opinion. And again, if anybody has anything to add to that, that's the subtype. The default listing statuses, the default in RealTracs now will be active, coming soon, hold, and under contract showing. We're going to add under contract not showing, and then closed. Trish, where most of with this market being so active and crazy, in some of our searches, we've only done 6 months, but do you want to start with a year? Because I believe that's what you looked at.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that's unreasonable. If we get 977 hits, then we can filter it down. And again, for the actives, the coming soons, under contract showing or not showing, the real meat of the matter is in what's been closed. But we do still want to see what's out there and what's coming and what the competition is. All right. Then, so because it pulled up automatically the MLS number and it populated it in here, you have to take that out, because if you leave it in there, it's going to bring you one. It's going to keep bringing you this listing. So it's a little tip there. The counties, Davidson County, Tennessee. I'm going to put Nashville in here. And at least to start with, because I can't start from the map off this page, I don't want to get, too big of an area. So I'm going to go on and limit it by, what was the name of it? Brookside Court, is that right?
Brookside.
Okay, I'm going to use, and there are different ways to go about this. I used to say, go multiple ways to skin a cat, but that's really gross. So maybe we'll just say catch a fish, or, plant the garden or something. So we're going to put the wild card symbol and then Brookside. So in some things I saw court, in some things I saw courts with an S. So I'm just going to put wild card Brookside. So it'll find anything with that in it. All right. Now we get to some of the finer results. Price, beds, baths. I think it's not unreasonable to have a minimum of 2 baths. Anybody have thoughts about that? Or do we even want to limit it now? Do we just want to see what we find on Brookside?
Yeah, leave it there.
Okay, just leave it and just do Brookside Courts right now and see what we get. Great.
Yeah, that's
Or
right.
Brookside.
Did you do square footage?
We could, but we have chosen to
Okay.
to run the search now. So, and we've gotten some hits. Now, once I'm on the map, I want to get a pin to see exactly where our subject property is. So over here on the side, click on center, and I'm going to type 5602 Stoneway, and it's going to find it there. I select it there, and it drops a pin for me. All right, so pretty good. So here's the area that we're talking about, right? Now, we have some choices for what to do here. Trish, did you just do a search just within this subdivision, or did you go a mile out or so, or some other, some geographical boundaries, or how did you approach it?
So I did ones that were considered to be within Brookside Courts.
Gotcha. Okay.
And most of them, of course, happen to be, really within a mile and a half.
Right. Right. So it sounds like you've got some good comps here. Does anyone want to make an argument for taking this out further? We've got 22 hits just in here. Do you want to make an argument for looking wider out, or take a look at these first and then decide?
Yes. Look at those first.
Yes, look at these first. Great. Love it. All right.
Yeah,
So-
I think so too.
Now from up here, this is kind of cool. There's a little arrow over here. See, and it's like a little pocket door. Down, pocket door. And so you can see the thumbnails over here. But if that's what you wanted, I think the most useful thing for us right now would be the list, though, right? So you change it to list view. All right. All right. And so of those 22 listings, one is, now we've talked about this on previous pricing pros. Just because the subdivision says Brookside doesn't mean that's it. You can call it whatever you want to. So the information is only as good as it's entered by the agents, right? So Trish, you know this area pretty well. Do we look like we pretty well limited it to Brookside Court? Like, what about this dude that's on the other side of White Bridge Road? Does Brookside go on both sides?
It does. It's still considered part of it,
Very
Yeah.
cool.
which is
But-
funny, but that side is actually considered the less expensive side.
So
But what-
oftentimes we do not want to cross a major road, an interstate, a divider. So I live on one side of Gallatin Road and I don't live on the other side, and the pricing is very different depending on what side you're on. Getting to be less different. So that could be something to consider. If I were going to draw on the map here, I'd probably stay on this side of White Bridge Road. I'd probably stay southish of Charlotte here and not cross over there, and not cross over 70 South here. So I'd probably stay in this kind of bubble there. But for now,
Yeah.
we'll just look at Brookside. All right, so back to the list. I love to go to the list view because you can sort by all these different columns, of course. So let's sort by square footage, because we have intel from Trish that there are a whole bunch of ones that are exactly the same square footage and will probably be very similar in design in terms of 3-bed, 2-bath, right? And in fact, we do see that. And they're all closed, which is good. We like to know what the market will truly bear by having a closed property as comps. Based on what you're seeing here, do we want to add some more parameters, some more limiters around beds, baths, year built,
Square footage.
square footage?
Yeah.
I would
All
not
right.
exceed 2,000. I would put it at 19 or 2,000 max.
Cap at 19 or 2,000?
Wait,
Yeah,
those,
it makes sense. It makes
Right.
sense to do the square footage.
D?
y'all know these houses. They are the definition of cookie cutters.
Mhm.
They're all exactly the same.
Yeah,
So,
but the others don't sit on White Bridge Road, and that is
Okay.
the most material thing here is
yeah,
is definitely that this subject property sits on the corner of White Bridge and Stoneway, so that has a significant consideration for prospective buyers. May not affect the overall pricing, but
right. I would
Yeah.
have just put the square footage at 1,500.
1,500, that's
Because it would
really,
be- It would
that's-
be the exact same floor plan. There was one that I saw in here that was like 1472.
Mhm.
And I was just wondering if like they had added a bathroom or whatever they done.
That's 3
Right.
bedrooms, 1 bath.
Yeah, it's even less. So it's different.
It's, could
So
be.
that one right there, the White Bridge, 119 White Bridge, see that right there with the, yes. Okay, so that is the one when I was pulling to try to figure out sold as is. Do you mind to click on that one for a minute, Rebecca?
Happy to.
Okay.
with my speedy internet. Let me get that for you.
Okay, so this is the one I looked at where I was trying to compare to do an as is, because this one sold, well, 50,000 less than the listing price. And it sold as is. I mean, these are some great pictures on here. Like they didn't even clean up the dishes. But it's that also on White Bridge, Teddy, except our cute little house has a fenced in backyard privacy fence. So that gives you an out when, being right there on White Bridge.
So would you say your cute little house looks a lot like this?
Yours is more updated.
That house is
Yeah.
kind of an anomaly, though. That house is $300,000. I mean, that doesn't
Yeah.
show up in my comps. I'm not sure why that's even showing up. Oddly, where's that?
It
Yeah.
is, you mean, where is it located, or where is it on
Well, I
the?
can see it's on White Bridge. It's just interesting because when I put in 3.2 comps with a 1,900 square foot max, like that thing doesn't even show up when I did a map search. So I just thought it's interesting. Like that's so out of the realm of.
It's here, Ted.
It is, it's right there, and it's closer to, that one is actually closer to Target. It's on, yeah, I don't know what you think I'm doing. It's on this side of Target. I mean, you guys don't know what that means.
This.
But that one only has one bathroom, right?
Yes.
There you go. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I put a
Yeah.
3.2
Yes.
minimum, and that's why that didn't show up in my comps. Yeah.
So so one of the things, Rebecca, when I was working on trying to figure out an as-is price, this was the only place I found in the realm. I added the price of a bathroom and added cute factor and fenced in backyard to the as-is price, and came up with somewhere around 350. But I don't know. I mean, that's just, it's a crapshoot for me.
That might be the low one you throw out, because a lot of the times if there's one that's weirdly low, you don't pay attention to it, and one that's weirdly high, you don't pay attention to it.
Okay.
I don't know. And it doesn't look like the pictures of the other ones. Like it looks like when they redid that one, because they all used to be duplexes, and when they redid that one to make it single family, they didn't finish. Not done yet. Something's wrong. It didn't get done the same.
Well, if anybody knows project started not finished trying to sell it, it's D. Davis.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't look like him. It doesn't look like him. It's not priced like him. It seems kind of funky. Be hard to figure out what to
So
do.
D, you're lobbying to, before we run a CMA, to drop that one.
You drop anything with a one bath. You just
Yeah.
nothing with a one bath, in my opinion, is included. A 1 to 2 bath difference is monumentous in comps. I mean, it has.
That's right.
I immediately, if something's a 3.2, I always start with 3.2 as a minimum. That's just my methodology, because like, it's just, if I find no other data, then yes, I'll have to pull that in and make adjustments. But for a baseline to start,
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, there's so many one baths that just dilute the problem.
Yeah.
Well, and that's a great point that Dee made, that Trish originally made, that, these were all built, they're cookie cutter, that Dee made, they were all this and they were converted to this. And that Ted makes his point that one bathroom makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
But also knowing your neighborhood and knowing this area, it makes sense. It's because over in East Nashville, Inglewood, Madison, good luck finding 2 bathrooms. And so if your subject property is a 3.2, you're going to have to look at 3.1s and then adjust.
Right.
So, all right. So I came back to our search, right, to refine it. It's hidden over here. Another hidden thing. Ha-ha. All right. So we open it up. And we've limited it to 3 beds, 2 baths, square footage. D, you want to put 1,500? 1,500
That
on
would definitely do it. Well, I mean, I would put something like 15, maybe 16 if I felt crazy, but I don't know. Ted, why Ted may have a great reason to put it at like 1900. I don't know.
I think 2,000 would be a little bit too much.
I think it would be
We're looking at what, it's 1,500 or 1,400? So we're looking at 1,400. So why go all the way to 2,000? I don't know.
I went to 19 and I got a 1676, which I feel is the best comp. So if you went to 15, you'd miss it. It's at the corner of Stoneway and something else here, and Kendall.
So great points. We started with no limit on square footage, right? And I like to make small changes and run the search, and make small changes and run the search, and make small changes and run the search. So at least I get to see everything to start with, and I get it in my head. And then I feel like I have a better perspective on when I've gone too narrow. So I'm with the party that says 1,500 is more narrow than I want to go.
Okay.
I don't think 2,000 is crazy. I usually try to go 400 or 500 on either side. But again, if you're talking about a 4,000 square foot house, that doesn't make as big of a difference as when you're talking about a 1,500 square foot house.
So what is the sweet spot? What's the number that you're looking for that you feel good about getting a CMA from?
That would depend.
For this particular one, or in general?
In general.
That depends to me. There's some science to it, but there's a whole lot of art and intuition as well, and a whole lot of iterative process in terms of just trying different things. And this isn't running comps. We say this on here all the time. It's not a one and done. It's a process. All right, Ted has Dee's put a comment in the chat that you have a really good chance of getting multiple offers either way. And Ted just put a link to.
Well, that'll be in your comps, but
Okay.
But I'll answer that point, or I'll give my opinion, if you will, on the comps. As Rebecca said, how far above and below do you go? It does depend. I was just doing some math on my calculator because it's more than 20%, but it depends. I don't think there is a hard, fast rule that appraisers follow. But let's put it this way: if I'm comping a 600 square foot house, I'll max it at 1,000. If I'm comping a 1,500, I will go probably 1,000 to 2,000. On a 2,200, I would go 18 to 26, 27. I'm giving myself a potential range, but I'm also thinking if a house is 600 square feet, I'm not going to pick a home double in size at 1,200. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So those are just some rules of thumb that I use when determining that range. But if you're comping an 11,000 square foot house, there's houses that are going to compete with that at 8 and at 7,000, because some people, like, it's not as important that it's 11,000 square feet. Most people don't go, ooh, yeah, we're going to need to be in 10K or above. But some buyers are. You got to think of the mindset of the buyer. Most buyers don't tell you, I can't live in less than 1,000 square feet. They may tell you they've lived in 1,000 square feet, though, and they'll be like, we are not going to live in under 1,500 square feet. Most buyers don't know what a good 1,500 feels like. They just know whatever they were in doesn't work anymore. So that's I'm always thinking of it from a buyer's perspective when I'm running comps of what am I competing against from buyers that are searching. So 3.2, most buyers at a 3.2 is a must. They're not looking at 3.1s. That's my notes on that.
True.
All right.
There's a 4-bedroom one there.
Right. So we added some additional tighter parameters of minimum 2 baths and minimum 3 bedrooms. And then we put the square footage limited at 1,900, and we went from 22 listings to 14. So we feel like we're honing in. at this point, I think it would be for me, because I haven't taken a close look, I would probably go through these listings now quickly, either, you know, just a quick view and see which ones, get my brain, which ones have been renovated, updated, and which ones haven't been. Or we could go that route, or we could go the route of let's run the CMA, see what we see, and then go through and isolate the best comps. Anybody want to pick a choose your own adventure direction? All right, sold on running the CMA because that's easiest. Oh, somebody just put it in the chat. Oh, all right, Sylvia just added some comments, which we'll read in just a second. Something about a scrappy, funky man cave space. I can't wait to read this, but for now, I'm just going to go on and remember to check all the boxes. We're not going to eliminate anything else at this point. We're going to go on and run the CMA, select all the boxes, go up to the 3 dots up here, and this is where your CMA tools are now. All right, so we're going to do just the regular, not the cloud CMA. We've got too many things open here. Alrighty, so this is the coming soon. That's the subject property. All right, this is the under contract showing, but let's skip down to the closed. And I want to skip to the punchline down here and just kind of take a look. So we've got a lot of 3.2s, built-in 64, 1,444 square feet. So at some point we might want to run this again and just isolate these in here and really zoom in on those. But for now, we'll keep a little wider perspective, keep some of these slightly larger houses in here. All right. And you can see that the your subject property is just right in line with these guys here. All right, so for me at this point, I'd put this in, you know, on one side of the screen, and I'd start going through the listings, the closed listings, to see which ones I think are the best comps. Others, do you feel that's a good approach at this point? Anybody?
Yes.
Bueller, great, thank you. All righty, check the chat. All right, I'm gonna check with on Sylvia's comment before we get too far away from it in the chat. The exception would be, let's say you're looking at a 2,000 square foot house in Donaldson, 1,000 real square feet up, 1,000 crappy square foot down, where the listing agent is counting basement square footage as real square footage. This is hypothetical, right? Sylvia, you're just making, sorry. So in the above situation, I might look at the real living space and add value for the crappy, funky man cave space. Above is regarding top of your range when looking for certain types of. Okay, great. So she's commenting on the square footage, how we limit it, and that's the thing. Great. All right, so wait. This funky little bar keeps coming down. I can't get rid of it. Back to results. All right, so go into the grid list here. All right, so I like to scroll through and see in the public remarks if anything says as is, but we've talked about that a lot, Trish, already, because since you're looking at as is, if you saw any that said as is, that could be a good one to earmark. And again, I'm not saying exclude or include. This is where you're going through and you're really, you know, getting your finer tooth comb and going through details and trying to identify your best comps. Ooh, that one's cute. All right, so back on the list view, is there anything that anyone's seen throughout this process so far that would cause you to eliminate any of the ones that are in here now? Do we feel like there are enough comps to, drop the square footage a little bit? Ted, you said one of these at 1676 you think is one of the best comps, is that correct?
I think it has merit because it's a corner lot. So I think it's on the same street. It's a corner, and I think it's a good comp in that sense.
Uh-huh.
You know, I had put everything right now with just a let's try it and see, because the market's so out of whack that, I mean, I just put in my comments, I have to jump off here, but I'd throw it at 450. It's absurd in my opinion, but that's part of why I would choose to sell now, Trish, rather than improve it. And I would do it as is, because I don't think the ROI is there, even though I look at the fascia of that house, or the elevation as it's called, and I could put a porch on that and shutters and make that cute. But am I going to squeeze 500 out of it for putting another 25 to 40? Probably not, or at least it's not going to appraise. And so unless you add square footage, that's where you're going to make your money, is if you add footage. And good luck getting a contractor right now. I'd just kick it down the curb at 450 and see who wants to play ball. And that's my thoughts.
And
All right.
Did you say you've already gotten 20 phone calls?
Exactly.
I mean, what else do you want to know? Why are we here? Where's my cocktail? Where's your cocktail? You just got to be real ready. And
Trish, I have a buyer.
And huh?
I have a buyer.
Oh, good. See, you've got it.
I have a buyer at 450. Do I hear $1?
Right, right.
Option.
Look at Rebecca. Pricing Pros turned into Auctions R Us.
Right. Do I hear 465? Anybody? 465.
I love it. I love
Can we
it.
see it on Monday?
Wait, so Trish, have you done multiple situations in this rabid shark feeding frenzy?